Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. In Kumasi, it's on Love 99.5 FM. We're live on over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Radio Justice in Tamale, Lolonyo FM in Hohoe, Klenam Radio in Ho, Gaskia FM in Techiman, and Radio Sungmale in Wa. You can go digital on Facebook, Spotify, and myjoyonline.com app. In this edition, tension at Dom Kwabinya constituency here in the Greater Accra region as names of supporters of incumbent Adjoa Safo is expunged from the voters' register ahead of the constituency election in the region tomorrow. Meanwhile, the party has identified Dom Kwabinya and 3 other constituencies as flashpoints ahead of the elections.
Well, we have quite a volatile situation at Odododio, for instance. Also, Domi Kwabenya, the situation there. I think these two I can put on air.
Meanwhile, the party insists the absence of the Dom Kwabenya MP will not affect the conduct of the elections there. I will continue to advocate fat salaries for chief executives of state-owned enterprises so long as they perform. That's the Minister for Public Sector Enterprises. As it emerged, the SOEs combined recorded a loss of over 6 billion cedis in 2020.
I am an advocate for good salaries, and if this is bad, tell me this is bad. I am an advocate for good salaries.
We'll tell you about plans by government to revamp the sector as some SOEs have refused to submit audited accounts in the last 10 years. Government hopeful of putting up truly affordable housing units as it engages some cement producers to cut the cost of construction.
It's important that we engage with you, the key cement manufacturing companies, so that we can strike a deal for you to provide some sort of special discounted cement for affordable housing.
We hear from some cement producers who are calling for government support to scale up local sourcing of raw materials.
With the Chinese and other things, so then the competition is too high in the market.
As of today, we are not able to produce clinker in Ghana, but
in sports,
CAF have officially launched an African Schools Championship yesterday, and we're bringing you details of the new competition.
And much later. It's day 3 of the National Science and Maths Regional Qualifiers. Today we'll tell you why many schools are featuring second-year students instead of their colleagues in SHS3 in the 2022 qualifiers.
In the past, we tried bringing final year students because they had content, but we realized that immediately they leave a void, and that is difficult to fill. And therefore, this new thing is something that is going to stay so that we can have a team always.
These and more is what I have for you in this package. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Please stay for details. I'll take you to the Dom Kwabinya constituency here in Accra, where this afternoon there's some tension over claims that names of aspirants aligned to the current MP have been removed from the constituency register. The governing NPP is set to conduct constituency elections across the country tomorrow, but here in Accra, Dom Kwabinya, Odododio, and 2 other constituencies have been identified as hotspots. Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the party, Divine Agohum, observed that the long absence of the Dom Kwabinya MP Sarah Adjoa Safo has created tension among some members, a situation he believes could degenerate during the constituency primaries. I'll take you live there, but first listen to Divine Agohom.
We've engaged him. He'll be detailing his men on the field to help provide security. We have just a few areas where we consider as flashpoints for which they would have to beef up, the numbers. Ordinarily, I would have said that the police command at the districts should be enough for this, except for areas where, as I said earlier, we consider as flashpoints.
So how many flashpoints have you identified?
So far, I think just about 4.
Which constituencies are these?
Well, we have quite a volatile situation at Odododio, for instance. Also, Domi Kwabenya, the situation there. I think these 2 I can put on air. The rest, we don't want they themselves to even know that we consider their constituencies as flashpoints. These are security issues, you don't say it on air. But these two areas, they've already shown signs that I believe is already in the public space. So yes, these two plus some other two constituencies. Otherwise, I am convinced that the way the process had gone so far in the region, the district police, will be enough to provide security at the various constituencies. And if it so happen, we are good to go. One can say it's a family affair. We don't expect that misunderstandings or disagreements can, escalate into something that will need external security intervention.
That's the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NPP, Divine Agohom. Let's go live to the Dom Kwabinya area. Samuel Imbura is our man on the ground. Samuel, what have you noticed so far since you got to the constituency? Do you get a sense that the constituency is ready for tomorrow's elections?
The elections in the Dome Kwabinya constituency will be dependent on the outcome of the Kwabinya Circuit Court. There's a case before it by some electoral coordinators of the NPP. They are claiming that the party or the constituency election committee machinated the voters register and then expunged some names from it that are purported to be supporters of the current MP Adwoa Safo. So they are asking the court to injunct the entire process. So I called the chairman of the constituency. He tells me the case is yet to be heard at the Kwabinya Circuit Court. There's another hanging issue that was before the Adenta High Court, but the court struck out the case and referred it to the ADR of the NPP. So that is also yet to be resolved. I spoke to the plaintiff who sent the case to Adenta High Court. He says that they want the court to deal with the issue, else they would advise themselves. I also spoke with some aspirants who are saying that the process is actually recording some anomalies. They are expecting that the top hierarchy of the party should address them before they go into the elections. If not, it will cause a chaotic situation there. So they are basically raising concerns of people purported to be supporters of Adwoa Safo expunged from the voters register, and those who are also aligned to Adwoa Safo and contesting at the constituency level have been badly treated. So they want some of these challenges to be resolved before they can get into it. I spoke to the spokesperson of Madam Adwoa Safo in the person of Nana Dubin, and he says that some of these challenges have been brought to their attention, and they think that some people are trying everything possible to work against the MP, though she is not around. But they are on the grounds, and if the party does not resolve these challenges, their members or people who are on their side will pull out of the elections. So that is the threat they are giving out. But from all indications, like I said, if the court does not come out with a ruling today having to do with the injunction, the elections may come up. But if the court comes out with a verdict that favors that of the plaintiffs, then we are likely to witness a drawback in the Kwabinya constituency.
Well, that's my colleague Samuel Imbura there reporting from the Dom Kwabinya area. Quite comprehensive reporting there. Meanwhile, the regional chairman is insisting that the elections at Dom Kwabinya will be conducted in spite of the absence of Sarah Adwoa Safo.
In determining the dates for the elections, the input or the interest of the member of parliament to us is major. We try to engage them to understand or to get from them the date that will also suit them. We try to consider all this. So you are not here. So we take a decision, okay, we are going to go this way. Then you come tomorrow, you say, oh, you would have wished it's like this or not. You see, you are creating problems for us. Your people would be expecting that you represent them. It's a political party that put you in parliament. Is that not it? You're on our ticket. So we expect that you would be playing your role in managing the party also in the constituency as a member of parliament, that they voted for you and you are not there. So who will be doing this work?
So will you proceed to conduct the election without
Basically, that is what we are going to do. What else can we do? To be waiting for her that we don't know when she's coming back? I mean, who is going to do that? So there are other issues that we are also considering. But for now, we will be doing the constituency elections to elect leaders to manage the affairs of the party in the constituency. Other issues will be considered later.
Well, my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins me in studio. We know that 2 constituencies will be left out of tomorrow's event. Do we know why?
So, Emefa, we are told by the party that Korowo constituency and Ningo Pram will be left out because during the police station elections, there were unresolved issues. So the party would want to resolve the matter so that the aggrieved persons will be satisfied before they go on to conduct the constituency election. So for tomorrow, out of the 34 constituencies in Greater Accra, 32 have been cleared to organize elections within the constituencies. But for Korowo and Ningo Pram, they would have to wait a little while longer.
Okay. Well, that's my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson there with updates on this. And we're monitoring events across the country also. And we'll bring you details of it. But the General Secretary of the party, John Buedu, is also confident elections across the country will be smooth, indicating that a committee has been put in place to resolve grievances of candidates. Let me briefly bring in the Director of Elections of the NPP, Mr. Evans Dimako. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So we'll be monitoring events, at least. We've seen what's happening currently in Dom Kwabenya. At the national level, is there any intervention, for instance?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Nimako. If you can hear me, I'm asking specifically about the elections that are starting from tomorrow. We've been getting reports from Dom Kwabenya. There are concerns about some names being expunged from the voters' register, for which reason some are heading to the circuit court there. Is that an event that has come to your attention? Is there a particular intervention from your outfit?
Well, thank you for having me. I am now aware of this program. And some people in Dominica agree. They've been to court already, and the case was not entertained by the court. And so if they want to come to the party to appear before the ADR committee, they are welcome. But what you just said is just news to me.
I'm sure that you'll be monitoring after this, but largely, though, ahead of tomorrow's constituency elections, what would you say is the situation on the ground? Everything under control?
Yes, I'll say for now, we are set for tomorrow, 28th, to Monday, 2nd of May. We are very certain that all constituencies are set to have this annual delegate conference, which will elect the new constituency executive. The directives have been clear and they are clear. The EC will conduct the election. We are at the point where, at this stage, we are not going to entertain anything untoward from any of the stakeholders. We therefore insist that elections committee will collaborate very well with the EC and get the election done when the time is due. We're saying at this stage, we are not going to entertain proxy voting. We've mandated the Constituency Elections Committee to exhibit the register at the Constituency Secretariat. If there are any issue, it must be forwarded to the appropriate office for redress.
We're grateful for your time. That's the Director of Elections of the NPP, Evans Dimako. We'll stay a while longer on politics because the governing NPP's legal team is accusing the embattled Member of Parliament for Asin North in the Central Region of a deliberate attempt of evading justice following the filing of a new application at the Supreme Court to challenge an earlier decision injuncting him from performing his parliamentary duties. The MP is urging the Supreme Court to set aside its ruling that barred him from performing parliamentary duties. Well, he says the majority 5-2 decision was a patent and fundamental error of the law and a breach of portions of Ghana's constitution. But a member of the NPP's legal team, Gary Nimako, says the new application is geared towards buying more time for the MP.
There is a valid judgment. So please, we shouldn't confuse the public at all. Now, I have always maintained that nothing stopped Mr. Kwesi and his lawyers from pursuing the appeal at the Court of Appeal. So if for some reason we didn't comply with the conditions of an appeal has been struck out for non-compliance, why do you turn around to blame any other person? By you don't blame your lawyers who were supposed to have filed your documents for you to pursue the appeal at the Court of Appeal. That as it there already exists a valid judgment of a high court. The status quo now is that there exists a valid judgment of a high court which has not been impeached, it's not been set aside, it's not been vacated. You see, and you cannot choose which judgment to obey, which not to obey. You cannot choose that I will obey here and I will not obey here. No, you can't do that. I believe that if the party put on the right structures and then correct the mistakes or the errors that it made in the 2020 elections, I think things can change.
Well, the view of a legal practitioner who's himself also had his application review on the Supreme Court thrown out yesterday has been commenting on it. I'm talking about Justice Abdullahi. For him, the Asin North MP may suffer the same fate.
It looks to me that almost all the foundations have fallen. And so it will be very difficult to put something on nothing. I think it's a very difficult case at this moment. If you remember, I strongly urged that they file the review of the injunction application because in my mind, I could not really understand the basis for the Supreme Court's decision to injunct a member of parliament from performing his constitutional obligations. I still stand by that. I think it's not a good practice. It has been a review application. I was in court yesterday when the case was called. It was obvious from where I said that it's a very tall order for the applicants in this case, and it makes it's even more difficult because the appeal that was filed was thrown out, and so it's not going to be that easy.
That's the Justice Abdullahi there. The General Secretary of the NPP, John Boedu, is however optimistic the NPP will wrestle the seat from the NDC.
Because there are a lot of issues in court that can take 3 years, can take 4 years. What is the essence of having somebody who is not legitimate rep of a constituent? You understand? So for me, as for saying not...
So you're preparing for a by-election?
We are ready for it. That's why we are a political party. We are ready for it, and we believe that when the decision is made, we are ready to contest.
You will win that seat?
It's a seat we've won severally. It's a seat we've lost twice as well. So it is still open.
General Secretary of the NPP, John Boedu, there in that interaction with Evans Mensah on PM Express. That full interview is live on our YouTube channel, so you can watch that for yourself. Now, state-owned enterprises posted a loss of over 6 billion cedis in 2020 alone, despite the juicy salary and working conditions of their chief executives. That's according to the state ownership report. But despite the poor picture, the Minister for Public Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, says he will continue to advocate for fat salaries for the CEOs so long as they perform and meets the expectations. Addressing the media on the state of these enterprises, he said the situation where some state enterprises have refused to prepare and submit audited accounts in the last 10 years provides grounds for corruption.
Can you believe that when I took office just a year ago, trying to visit some of these public enterprises, I met a situation where an appointee of the president, His Excellency, has prevailed upon his staff to prepare and be updated in their financial report, which was lacking for 8 years, 8 solid years. I've had instances where accounts had not been prepared for 10 years for some public entities. I hazard to say that when you have an investment as a shareholder or as a state, and accounts are not prepared and audited, it is a recipe for corruption.
But despite the gloomy picture, Joseph Kujo says he will continue to advocate for better working conditions for the CEOs.
I am an advocate for good salaries, and if this is bad, tell me this is bad. I am an advocate for good salaries. Good salary because I have said this. I know foreign companies even come here, and when they are paying good salaries, Ghanaian personnel managers, HR advice not to pay good salaries. The difference between a country becoming wealthy is for people to be paid good salaries.
He's also been rejecting suggestions for the sacking of non-performing CEOs, saying the fault may not be entirely theirs.
The issue is that when ECG sets a tariff that is cost reflective and incorporates margin, next month they will make profit. And if we will cry and not agree to that tariff, and ECG is reporting losses, should we cry? It is the same for Ghana Water. Just adjust the water tariff to reflect the cost and give them a profit margin. Any company, I'm holding a phone. The company looks at all cost of production and puts a margin on it, and that determines its selling price. But the state entities don't have that window.
Joseph Kujo there, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News. We've been focusing on the constituency executive elections in the NPP that's starting tomorrow, with a focus on Dom Kwabinya constituency, where names of supporters of incumbent Adwoa Safo has been expunged from the register, according to some of them. When we return, we have sports and then government hopeful of putting up truly affordable housing units as it engages some cement producers to cut the cost of construction.
It's important that we engage with you, the key cement manufacturing companies, so that we can strike a deal for you to provide some sort of special discounted cement for affordable housing.
And it's day 3 of the National Science and Maths Regional Qualifiers. Today we'll tell you why many schools are featuring second-year students instead of their colleagues in SHS3 in the 2022 qualifiers.
In the past, we tried bringing final year students because they had content, but we realized that immediately they leave a void, and that is difficult to fill. And therefore, this new thing is something that is going to stay so that we could have a team always.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports. Oreku, take us away.
Well, the Confederation of African Football on Tuesday launched a new initiative aimed at developing talent, teenage talent to be specific, across the continent, called the CAF African Schools Championship. It will feature champions from every country who would meet in a grand final competition to select a winner. Gary Al Smith was in Mozambique and explained the format of the new competition.
There is a new initiative in town, and this one is aimed at kids between the ages of 12 and 15. It's been launched here today, and it is the CAF African Schools program. It's tentatively slated for 41 African countries, where in 3 stages, namely, there's going to be a national championship. So if you are one of the members that have signed up, you are going to essentially have a national championship within this age bracket. The champions will go to a zonal championship, and then the winners of the zonal championship among CAF's 6 zones are going to play in the continental championship.
Well, CAF President Patrice Motsepe was also there and explained why the Federation are embarking on this new initiative.
One of the greatest investments we can make in African football is in schools football. We could not have chosen a better place to show and reflect the commitment of investment in schools football, which is the heart and soul of the future and the development of African football.
Oh, Emefa, this one is for 12 to 15-year-olds, so you can start making future plans.
My daughter can be part of it. Thank you very much, Oreku. Now let's take you to Ketia, because some traders at the new market in Kumasi are resisting shutdown of their shops over non-payment of premiums. That over 220 traders affected by the exercise say they expect owners of the facility to pay compensation for the demolition of their structures of the old market space. Some of the traders who resume work to find their stalls locked forcefully unlocked the padlocks. Andrew Skofi is Public Relations Officer of the Ketia Traders Association.
We woke up this morning to see that every shop has been locked. The reason being that they are demanding premiums. But there is an underpinning issue which has not been solved. before the destruction of KJTR, you know that there were a lot of court issues. All the issues were aimed at making sure that our compensation, the government sent his valuer to come and value all the shops. And we were promised that our compensation will even be paid before the destruction of the shops. When we made way for them to destroy the shop, up to now, they have not paid our compensation. Now, they owe us our compensation because the money, according to sources, are there.
Well, that's Andrews Kofi, Public Relations Officer of the KJTR Traders Association there. Now, police in the northern region say it has arrested one person in connection with the murder of 8 nomadic herdsmen there. In a statement, the police says they've also mounted a search for others suspected to have attacked a Fulani settlement within the Yendi municipality. Fred Smith joins me in studio with details of that statement. What does it say?
Well, it says that the Northern Regional Police Command, through an intelligence-led operation, has arrested Danko Delabra for his alleged involvement in an attack on a Fulani settlement within the Yendi municipality of the northern region, and says that the suspect is alleged to have been among a gang of armed men who stormed a Fulani settlement on April 13, 2022, murdered 8 of the inhabitants, injured 5 others, took away some livestock and set the settlement ablaze. The suspect, Danko Delabra, was arraigned at the Yendi Circuit Court and has been remanded to reappear on May 5, 2022. A joint team of intelligence and operations officers from the National and Regional Police Headquarters has been deployed to pursue and arrest the remaining culprits and bring them to face justice. Signed by the Public Relations Officer for the Northern Region Police.
Well, earlier this week, we were informed that 2 persons were arrested and they were searching for more. Is it that this latest number after the previous making 3? Did they clarify?
Well, the statement is not clear on that, but it only mentions that they've arrested 1 person and are pursuing others.
Okay, so that's some clarity we'll get subsequently. Now, government says it has commenced processes to make affordable housing projects truly affordable for the ordinary Ghanaian. According to the Minister for Works and Housing, it has started engaging some cement factories to sell their product at a cheaper price to support the new project that will be rolled out. Francis Asensobwachi is also optimistic that this partnership will help further reduce the housing deficit. Michael Ashali has more.
According to the 2020 population and housing census, more than 12% of the total structures counted were vacant, although the national housing deficit reduced by 10%. Meanwhile, the cost of housing has skyrocketed over the last few years owing to major components like the cement. The Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asensobwachi, believes pegging the price of cement at a negotiated level will minimize the cost of constructing more affordable housing units.
So we are about to roll out an affordable housing program, and we think that it is important that we engage with you, the key cement manufacturing companies, so that we can strike a deal for you to provide some sort of special discounted cement for programs or projects that the ministry will designate or classify as affordable housing.
He also challenged cement manufacturing companies to explore options to increase the local sourcing of raw materials.
The invasion of Ukraine by Iraq also has its own effects on the price of cement and other building materials. So no one should tell us that it is important that we have to look within as far as building materials are concerned. And as a key player in the production of building materials, we want to encourage you to work with our local research institutions.
Works and Housing Minister Francis Asensobwachi. And after close to 3 decades since its inception, the trophy of the National Science and Maths Quiz has rotated among just 11 high schools. But this year, there's a campaign by other schools to break into the club of winners, like Prempeh College did to win the 2021 edition. The schools are exposing second-year students to boost their chances of winning the competition. Manuel Krante reports from Siang.
Pure excitement and jubilation in the camp of Achencia Senior High School after they won their contest to qualify from the Ahafo region to the national competition.
We prepared to camp for victory and we have gotten it, so we are most grateful to the Almighty God for granting us this success. I was very confident because my name is also Confidence.
Well, on that confidence note, let me bring in Manuel Kranting. He's still with the team on this regional tour. Manuel, tell us how today's contest has turned out.
Well, so there's been a first round of competition already today, and we've been having the bonus round of contest. And Kintampo Ethicals has booked for itself a place in the national championship after beating Kwate and Kumasi. There's new Kokompe, Beasiman, Busunya, and Yabua Iswama. Elsewhere in the Western region, that's actually where the excitement has been, because GSTS has actually been, stand by Shama Ethicals. And this year, we are not going to see GSTS in the national competition, even though they are part of that club of the elite schools that have won the competition before. They have been prevented by Shama Ethicals after they lost to Shama with 30 points. Emefa, that's all we have.
Well, Manuel, thank you and have a happy birthday. That's from us to you. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa. Apawu. Living Word with Pastor Menso Taville is up next. Have a good afternoon.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.
Hey,
oh dada, MTN will never ask you for your PIN. Never reveal your PIN to anyone under any circumstances. And if you are not sure, always check the number. MTN will only call you with a dedicated number, 0244 300,000. Stay safe, stay vigilant. MTN.
Hello, CEOs. The 6th Ghana CEO Summit is here. The foremost business conference for over 500 topmost CEOs, heads of state, business leaders,